Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Chris Knoll.
And I'm student meteorologist Maddie Seiler. So it's been pretty fair weather lately thanks to that cold front that came through, so we have had some pretty nice temperatures lately.
Yeah, it's definitely not the 101 degrees we felt on Tuesday.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
but definitely don't let this fool you because I feel like later in the week we're going to get back up to the mid-90s is what we've been seeing.
Yeah, mid-90s is what we're expecting around Monday next week. We're going to stay in the lower 90s up for this weekend. It's going to feel pretty great if you're going to the games. I'm fine with mid-90s because we've been in upper 90s for all of September before this.
I agree. We have been breaking some records with, like you said, above 100-degree temperatures the past few days. So take advantage of this weekend as we're going to see lows even in the mid-60s.
Yeah. Those lows are going to be a lot lower because we have a lot of dry air brought to you by a high pressure system that is really dominating the area.
Yeah, and that's going to be staying over us for the greater part of next week, which is why we're not going to be seeing that much needed rain that we need in the area.
Yeah. Sadly, it's looking like our drought is going to be continuing throughout this month.
But nevertheless, with that high pressure system, we are going to be seeing some gustier winds, which will help with the heat that's going to be coming back next week.
Yeah. For now, though, we will be starting to send things off with Jesse with the overview.
Hey guys, it was another beautiful day in Tallahassee. It was a lot cooler than it has been back on Tuesday, Wednesday. We were seeing over 100-degree temperatures. Right now it is 87 degrees. You can see lots of clouds here behind me, which provided a nice breeze. Satellite and radar, we've got absolutely nothing here in Tallahassee, not a drop of rain. Off east to our east, we can see just a little bit of showers, but those will not be affecting us. Over to our northeast, we can see this high pressure system that's keeping things dry in our area. While over in Texas, you'll be able to see the remnants of Imelda that are pushing right up north through Oklahoma and Arkansas. As for the 3-day forecast, we're going to be seeing a lot of sun as we enter the weekend and into early week of Monday. Sunny again, even more sunshine. Lows at night are going to be in the high 60s, which is going to be extremely comfortable. Definitely take advantage of that. As for tonight, we're going to be looking at these cool nights that we're going to experience over the next few days. We're going to be looking at this sunshine that's going to stick with us for a while. Fall's not coming yet. And we're also going to have your FSU forecast. For now, I'm going to pass it off to Chris, and we're going to take a look at the southeast.
Thank you, Jesse. Right now, we're going to get a zoom in at our temperature outlook for most of the southeast. As we're going to see, a lot of the areas are in the upper 80s. Except where there is rainfall happening right now, as in Little Rock, Shreveport, and it's maybe a little bit of rain in Miami, but it's still warm there. Getting a look at our dew points, we have very dry conditions over in Charlotte and Atlanta, and for most of the southeast, which is caused by that high pressure system that we saw earlier. And where there was rain showers, your dew points are going to be a lot higher because there's a lot more moisture in the atmosphere. Getting a look at our heat indexes. Our heat indexes for most of the southeast are going to stay close to the actual temperature, and that's because of the low dew points we have, not adding much to it. And the areas where you saw the higher dew points, you will see higher heat indexes because of that added moisture. Will make it feel a lot warmer. Getting our wind speed and directions, you can see a bit of this counterclockwise rotation from Charleston, Atlanta, Nashville, not counterclockwise rotation, which is caused by the high pressure system over that area. And you can see winds are relatively gusty, a little bit over 10 knots for most of the area. If you move closer to like Charlotte's at 3. But for most of the southeast, you're around 10 knots. Highest are Orlando, Miami, with 16 and 17 respectively. Getting a look at our storm outlook, most of the southeast is pretty clean. You will get some slight risk of thunderstorms in Louisiana and Arkansas, as a little bit of western Mississippi. This is caused by the remnants of Imelda moving into that area, as well as you will see some chances for marginal thunderstorm warnings up by Dallas and Upper Texas. Getting a look at our satellite and radar, we have this high pressure system that is keeping our skies clear for the foreseeable future. And you see a little bit of what used to be Imelda as it's breaking off, finally starting to break down. Getting a look at our drought monitor, it's going to be sticking around because of that high pressure system. Taking a look at our moisture forecast, you can see that we're having there's areas going to stay extremely dry over the next few days. Over the next 24 hours, you will see the a little bit what's left of Imelda start to dissipate, and you'll have clear skies for there. Going on to tonight's forecast, expect mid-60s for most of the area and clear skies unless you're Little Rock, Shreveport, or Miami, in which case you'll have some storms. Tomorrow's forecast, you're going to have a range from clear skies to partly cloudy with, once again, storms in New Orleans and Miami's. Expect temperatures in the 90s. For now, I'm going to be passing things off to Maddie as we're going to get our first local look.
Thanks, Chris. Really quick, I just want to say congratulations to Jessie. This is her first show on FSU weather, so it's great to have a new face around. Moving into today, we're looking at highs of 92, still a little bit above average from what we should be seeing 88 this time of year, but nothing like we have been seeing the past few days. Record for this time of year is 100 degrees set back in 1931, so thankfully we are not up there. Looking into our current conditions, though, we're at 87 degrees, once again a little bit above what we have been seeing. Mostly cloudy, but it is definitely windy out there with easterly winds coming in at 10 miles per hour. Zooming in, though, to our local temperatures, pretty even across the board. 87 Tallahassee, 86 up in Thomasville, and even 86, 87 down in Carabel and Apalachicola. So pretty even across the board. Our dew points are lower than what we have been seeing, which is because of that cold front that came in through the other day, which is offering us some relief. 62 in Tallahassee. Down when we get to the Gulf and we get more moisture, we're seeing 68 in Carabel, 67 in Apalachicola, but definitely a lot nicer than what we have been seeing. Looking at our current index, thankfully, because of that cold front that came through, we're seeing a less current heat index, which is why we're at 87, very close to our actual temperature, and 86 up in Donaldsville, even 85 over in Thomasville. So definitely take advantage of these conditions that we have. We're seeing an easterly wind coming in for most of the area, a little breezy here in Tallahassee at 10 miles per hour. Up in Donaldsville, we're seeing 14 miles per hour. Down near the coast, though, in Carabel, 3 miles per hour, and even calm in Sumarin. Getting our satellite radar, like mentioned earlier from Jessie, really nothing going on in the entire panhandle. We do see some showers coming off from the east coast, but nothing that is going to affect us later today. As we move in and talk about Hurricane Jerry, we're capping out at what seems to be a Category 1 hurricane for the rest of the remainder of the storm, seeing max sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. Thankfully, the East Coast is not going to be impacted from this storm. We've been fairly lucky this time of year, especially in hurricane season. Over the next 24 hours, you do see some clouds moving into the area. Nothing going to produce any rain, though. We might see some spotty showers as we get over to the east part of the panhandle, but nothing to worry about. Definitely some cool and dry conditions for the game tomorrow against Louisville. Tonight's forecast, we're getting down to 69 degrees. Definitely a break from what we have been seeing up in southern Georgia at Thomasville, 64 degrees in Valdosta, down to 66. Getting into tomorrow's forecast for that game day, a high of 89 degrees in Tallahassee, which will be a relief from what we have been seeing for the past few game days. So definitely go out to Doak Campbell Stadium tomorrow, cheer on those Noles. Down in Carabel, 87 degrees, and Apalachicola, 87 as well. Looking at the week ahead, though, we're going to see 89, as mentioned before, for Saturday. And throughout the week that we're seeing, we're going to get back up into those hotter temperatures. So don't let these cool temperatures fool you. We're not in fall just yet. Be prepared for Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday next week. We're going to get into the higher temperatures and be prepared for what we have been seeing from the past few weeks. Looking at our lows, we're getting down to the upper 60s. So it will be definitely nice out there. Giving you one last look, I'm going to head things back to Tyler and Jessie at the desk.
Thank you, Maddie. And we're going to talk about the impacts that post-tropical storm Imelda has had on the Houston area. They've been going through a drought-like period, but this is a little too much rain for them right now.
Yeah, it's even almost comparable to what they saw Hurricane Harvey just about 2 years ago this time. They got just a little bit more rain than they have right now.
Yeah, and they've gotten up to around 40 inches of rain, just a little bit more than that, I believe. And Jefferson County is the place that really got hit the hardest in Houston. And then this is actually the 7th wettest tropical cyclone on record in the United States.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Imelda is starting to dissipate. It's still affecting areas in north of Texas, just like Oklahoma and Arkansas, but hopefully it won't stick around for much longer.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to get into a closer look at Imelda as I go to the national view on the wall for us. Brought a lot of rain for Texas, but I'm just going to give us a closer look at that as well as everything else in our national view. So we're going to head over there just in a second whenever our graphics start popping up on the green screen, but also, oh, there we go. Our national high and low for the country today got up to 107 degrees in Rio Grande, Texas, and then down to 29 degrees in Colorado, Pikes Peak, Colorado, and Bryce Canyon, Utah got down to 29 degrees. So very cold temperatures for September, and then still at 107 for Texas. So very distinct temperatures from each other, very high, very low. For the most part, the western part of the country, fairly cold. Salt Lake City at 57 degrees. San Francisco, very nice, 82 degrees. We're not feeling much different here in Tallahassee at 87 degrees. Atlanta is 82 and sunny. As we get into the northeast, very comfortable temperatures. Washington, D.C. at 78 and Boston at 75 degrees. Looking at our dew points, the west once again is very dry. There's a front moving across the central part of the country, leaving behind a lot of dry air for them. And then that cold front that moved through earlier in the week for us, still a lot of dry air behind it, going from the northeast, dipping down into Georgia, even into Tallahassee, have fairly low dew points at 62 degrees. And then most of our moisture is situated in the central parts of the country. And then getting down to Miami, they have a dew point of 71 degrees right now. All throughout the country, fairly breezy conditions, especially in the central parts of the country. Denver at 21 miles per hour for their wind speeds. Kansas City at 20 miles per hour. And then our high pressure system here in the southeast brings some clockwise rotation for the winds, keeping fairly breezy conditions for Tallahassee at 10 miles per hour. And then, as usual, the west coast, San Francisco and LA getting winds out of the west at 12 and 15 miles per hour. Here's that front I alluded to before, leaving by some drier weather for the most part, although there are some storms lingering behind in Billings, Montana, and getting into Wyoming. But as that front starts to push forward, they're going to bring some severe weather for certain parts of the country. And we see here in Dallas, have some storms to the north, and then high pressure system here in Oregon, keeping storms away from the west coast, and then the southeast, very clear with that high pressure system situated above them. Our storm outlook showing a slight risk of severe thunderstorms in South Dakota and North Dakota right now. And then the green is a 1 out of 5 risk for a severe thunderstorm. And then the rest of these light green areas are just risks of seeing some thunderstorms that aren't quite so severe in nature. We can see here the radar, some storms moving in. We're going to look at that in just a second. But here, just to the northwest of Denver, we actually have a freeze warning until Saturday at 9 a.m. in mountain times. And then going north back into North Dakota and South Dakota, they have a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock tonight Central Time. And then these orange areas right here are severe thunderstorm warnings. So these areas getting hit very hard right now. Moving a little bit to our southeast, some flash flood watches and some flood warnings from all the rain that northern Missouri and southern Iowa have received over the past couple of days. Still seeing a little bit of rain starting to move through those areas as well. And then, of course, the Houston area still under flash flood watches and flood warnings because of the remnants of tropical cyclone Imelda. And then that red is a flash flood warning. Over the next 24 hours, you're going to see the rain start to clear out. Imelda really not going to be much of a factor anymore. Bismarck and North and South Dakota are still going to see some of that rain, but that's also going to move out as well. And then the southeast going to be fairly clear. For tonight, southeast going to be pretty cool, pretty great temperatures, especially Atlanta at 63 degrees. And then in the northwest, going to be very cold, not quite at freezing temperatures though. Denver at 48 and Salt Lake City at 45 degrees. For tomorrow's forecast, southeast going to be warm, but not too brutal. The hot spot's going to be Dallas-Fort Worth at 92 degrees. And as we go towards the northeast, pretty comfortable in Boston at 80 degrees. But really the best place to be is going to be in the northwest, Denver at 76 and Salt Lake City at 65. Very comfortable conditions, and they're going to stay sunny. As we go northward, still going to see some storms tomorrow in North and South Dakota. But the west coast, as usual, going to be clear. San Francisco and LA going to be 82 degrees and 79 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Now I'm going to pass things off to Chris with our second local look of the evening.
All right, thank you, Tyler. So zooming in at our next, over the past 24 hours, we started off 70 degrees, cooled down a little bit at the 68 in the morning as we started gradually heating up, reaching our high around 4 p.m. of 91. and cooling off at 90 at 5. Looking at our rainfall almanac right now. Sorry, I was doing a little dance move I've been practicing. So today we observed nothing. Normally we get like 0.14 inch, but over this whole month, the big story is that we haven't actually observed any rainfall in Tallahassee at all. We're hoping we're going to get some eventually, but we're in the middle of a drought right now. Moving on to our current conditions, as I move over to the other side of the screen, it's 87 degrees, mostly cloudy, winds coming out of the east at 10 miles an hour. Zooming in our local Tallahassee area temperatures, we're going to be in the upper 80s for most of the area, with the highest being 88 in St. Mark's and as well as Quincy, 89 in Perry, my bad, I covered that up, and 85 is our coolest at Valdosta. Our dew point temperatures, we're going to be pretty dry. In the upper, we're in the lower 60s, with the highest being 68 in Carabel, but Tallahassee's staying pretty cool at 62 in Donaldsonville at 58. All right, current heat indexes, we're going to stay pretty close to the actual temperatures, and that's because we are very dry right now. However, Carabel and Apalachicola, because they had higher dew points, they will have a higher heat index than their real temperature. As we're starting to move in on our wind speed, most of our winds are coming from the east and moving their way west. You have some variations on mostly easterly flow, like Monticello's 3 miles an hour moving, northwest, whereas over in Quincy, it's moving southeast, my bad, from the northeast to the southwest. Getting a look at our satellite radar, you got clear skies. They're going to be sticking around for all of tonight, all of tomorrow, all for next week. It's going to be great as we start moving out to the national view. It's going to be caused by this high pressure system that's going to be staying in this area, which is keeping us dry. Getting a look at our marine forecast, 85 degrees, winds 15 to 20 knots. This week ahead, we are going to be starting tomorrow at 89, and then we'll start gradually moving up into the 90s, with the hottest day being Tuesday at 95, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Make sure you stay hydrated. For now, I'm going to send things off back to the desk with Tyler and Maddie.
Thank you, Chris. Here at the desk, we're going to talk about the coldest temperature ever recorded in Florida, and it was right here at home in Tallahassee.
Yes, exactly. We're offering you some relief from this heat by talking about those cold temperatures. Back in 1899, Tallahassee actually reached below zero at -2 degrees.
And that's because of a storm referred to as the Great Arctic Outbreak that brought lots of cold temperatures, set a lot of records for the lowest temperatures ever in the southeast of the country.
Yes, even places like New Orleans and even as south as Tampa even recorded some flurries.
Yeah, and the only state so far in all of the country that has not quite gotten into those sub-zero temperatures yet is Hawaii. They've gotten all the way down to 12 degrees, but since they have all that water surrounding them, it's very hard for them to dip down below zero. Even 12 degrees is very rare for them. They don't really see snow there, so they don't get below even 32 degrees.
Yeah, typically areas that are surrounded by more water typically don't get down as low as that, like Tyler was mentioning. So it's shocking that Tallahassee, even being as little inland as we are, getting down to -2.
And it wasn't just the southeast that was impacted. The northeast, which is already fairly cold, got very cold as well. Some parts of the northeast received as much as 30 inches of snow. That is a lot of snow. I've seen maybe 1 inch of snow in my entire life.
I'm from the Midwest, so 30 inches isn't too much, but for this time of year, yes, it was definitely a lot. Anyway, it's getting colder, kind of colder to this time of year, but definitely nothing like -2.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be going back to the wall to talk a little bit about Florida, which Florida is not quite that cold right now. If you look at the Panhandle, Tallahassee's at 87 degrees right now, Tampa at 85, and then as we get into Orlando, 82 degrees right now. So all throughout Florida, especially the stem of Florida here, very comfortable temperatures in the mid-80s. Panhandle a little bit hotter, but still can't really complain about these temperatures. Nothing in the 90s right now. Once again, the stem of Florida has a lot of moisture there, and as we start going towards the Panhandle, Tallahassee a little bit drier at 62 degrees for their dew point. Most of the moisture is situated in South Florida. Miami has a dew point of 71, Key West a dew point of 74, and then when we factor in the dew points with the actual temperature outside, we get the current heat index, which shows us how hot it really feels outside. Key West feeling like 94 right now. Tallahassee with those lower dew points still feeling like it's in the mid 80s at 87 degrees. Rest of Florida still not feeling too bad with those heat indices. Looking at the wind speeds, most of our wind flow is coming from the east from the sea breeze for central Florida. And then as we get towards North Florida, those easterly winds are associated with the high pressure system that's situated right around North Carolina right now. Fairly breezy conditions for the entire state. West Palm Beach having the highest wind speeds at 22 miles per hour. Satellite and radar not really showing much, especially for the Panhandle. Not any trace of rain to be seen. And as we get into Jacksonville, just a little bit of scattered showers off the coastline right here in between Daytona and Jacksonville, right around that St. Augustine area. Moving down to Central Florida, pretty much the same story, just some scattered showers along the coastline. South Florida seeing a little bit more rain though, especially around Miami and then getting into Fort Myers as well, some scattered showers. Over the next 24 hours into the evening, those conditions are really going to go away. Not going to see any nighttime rain. But as we get into tomorrow, still might see some scattered showers in southern Florida and central Florida. But the Panhandle really not going to get much relief. Still not going to see much rain. Those temperatures are going to start to bump up a little bit as we go through the weekend and into the week. But if you live in Tampa Bay and you're going to the Bucs-Giants game, 4 p.m. going to be 88 degrees at kickoff. Highest temperature is going to be around 86 degrees. And then by the time the game ends, it's going to cool down to 82. Not really expecting much rain. Going to have some partly cloudy skies though. And then if you're a Miami fan going to the Dolphins-Cowboys game that's in Dallas, it's going to be 87 degrees. They are in a domed stadium, but it's retractable, so it might still feel some of that heat. By the time the game ends, it's going to be around 91 degrees. For tonight, Orlando going to get down to 71. Tallahassee still going to be in the 60s at 69 degrees. And then Gainesville is going to be our coldest spot at 67. And then looking at tomorrow's forecast, going to be a little bit warmer. Going to see more places in the 90s. Tampa getting up to 91 degrees. South Florida going to see some of that rain, especially in West Palm Beach and Miami. Getting into Jacksonville, going to be 85 degrees, partly cloudy skies. And then Tallahassee going to be at 89 degrees. Going to be fairly hot for the game on Saturday, but not as bad as 2 weeks ago when we faced off against Louisiana Monroe. We had temperatures in the upper 90s and heat indices getting into the hundreds. Pensacola going to be fairly nice, 88 and sunny for tomorrow. But now I'm going to pass things off to Jessie, and she's going to give us our third local look of the evening.
Yeah, look at that beautiful view of Doak Campbell Stadium, the sun shining right through the clouds. It's currently 87 outside. You can see that it's just a little bit cloudy out there, which actually helps, makes it feel not so bad. I felt that earlier today as I was walking to class. The cloud cover really helped. Currently, like I said, fairly warm outside. We got 87 in Tallahassee, and really we're seeing temperatures in the mid 80s all across the Panhandle. Even down by the coast, Apalachicola, Carabella, they're seeing temperatures at 86 and 87 degrees. St. Mark's at 88. It's still fairly warm for it being at past 6 on a Friday night, but things are going to cool down as we continue. Wind speeds in Tallahassee right now are at about 10 miles per hour. North, they're seeing a little bit more in Thomasville with 12-mile-per-hour winds. Down by the coast, they've also got a little bit of a breeze. Makes it feel just a little bit better outside. Helps that 80-degree weather feel just a little bit more bearable. Our dew points right now are actually a little bit below average. This is thanks to that high pressure system that's sitting just north of us near the Carolinas. And so right now in Tallahassee, we're seeing 62 dew point. St. Mark's is at 64. Down by the coast, it's a little bit higher at 67 and 68, just a little bit more moist air down there. And as we've said all night, absolutely no rain coming for Tallahassee anytime soon. Over the next 12 hours, we're seeing almost no cloud cover practically. I mean, it's just going to be a quiet night, no storms, no rain. Hurricane Jerry, has also been a huge development. It's not supposed to get any stronger than Category 1 as it curves off away from the United States, not predicted to make any sort of impact. We've been very blessed to not have to deal with any of those storms because Michael last year was more than enough. Cloud cover here is a little bit spotty. We're going to be seeing this over the next 24 hours. Going to keep us cool. Tonight's going to be a great night. As for the game tomorrow, it's going to be hot. Not quite as hot as some of our last games, but 88 at kickoff, 3:30. 89 at 5, so it's actually going to get a little bit warmer, go back down at 7 p.m. Really, the whole game is going to be warm, not supposed to be cloudy either, so it's just going to be a lot of sun. Make sure you stay hydrated, bring that sunscreen, but definitely show up to cheer on FSU. Tonight, it's going to be a little cloudy, maybe not the best stargazing weather, but definitely take advantage of this cool night. At 72 degrees, it's predicted to be. It's going to be just a little bit of a breeze as well, which is going to feel amazing. As for this upcoming week, well, all the signs speak for itself. It's going to be not the most comfortable week, with temperatures reaching the mid-90s by Tuesday and Wednesday. Thankfully, for a little while, we're going to see temperatures in the high 60s at night, so that is definitely going to be a huge change of pace. To end the show, we're going to send it back to the desk with Tyler and Maddie.
Thanks, Jesse. Here in Florida, as Jesse was just talking about, especially Tallahassee, going to see that dry weather stick around with the high pressure system sitting over us for pretty much the next week. Really not going to see much rain at all.
Unfortunately, we definitely need the rain here, as I believe it's been over 30 days without any significant rainfall in the Panhandle.
Yeah, we're actually in a moderate drought right now, so we could really use that rainfall here in Tallahassee. Maybe as we start moving towards the end of next week, we might have some more chances for rain, but really there's not any changes in the patterns that's going to really help us at all. Looking at our 7-day forecast, especially Tuesday through Thursday, going to get very hot, going to be back in the mid-90s, although going through Tuesday, at least, those low temperatures are still going to be in the high 60s, so still going to be fairly comfortable, at least during the nighttime.
Yeah, it seems as though the theme of this evening is the hot weather that will be sticking around. So take advantage of what's going on this weekend. We're seeing lower dew points and dry weather, but as we get into that week, it's definitely going to kick up to those summer temperatures that we've been seeing.
Yeah, the one silver lining here is that the dew points are a little bit lower, so it's not quite as muggy outside. So these are hot temperatures, but they don't feel quite as bad when you go outside because of those dew points in the high 50s, lower 60s. Feels a lot more comfortable outside for us.
Exactly, which is why it was so nice today. I hope all of you got a chance to make it outside. If not, you have a few hours left, but it was definitely comfortable today. Definitely different than those 100-degree temperatures that we have been seeing.
Yeah, especially this morning whenever I woke up early for class. Got up around 9 a.m., which is, I guess, not too early for most people. For me, that's pretty early, but it was fairly cold outside. But follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSUweather.
And make sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSUweather.
And you can also watch us every night, Monday through Friday, live on youtube.com/FSUweather. We'll live stream from 6 o'clock to 6:30.
And send in those pictures to us at FSU Weather on Instagram. We love seeing different pictures. Even though it's been pretty hot here, we would love to see maybe some snow that could be potentially coming in the next week.
Yeah, exactly. For those northern states, might start seeing some snow. We talked about those super cold temperatures back in 1899 for Florida. I don't think we're going to see anything like that anytime soon for
Nothing
us.
like that for Florida, but if you have those, definitely send them in. Tyler needs some pictures.
Yeah, exactly. But for everyone, I'm student meteorologist Tyler Sherrod.
And I'm student meteorologist Maddie Seiler. Have a good evening.